12 months in and it's clear the Xbox Series X is still great. Here's what we said about it in our original review 1 year ago. We can only assume that the Xbox Series X will wow us with new and spectacular next-gen games eventually, because there isn't much to judge it on right now. But in the meantime, no matter what current games you throw at it, your loading times will be drastically cut, your frame rates will be smoother, and your resolutions will be higher. This bold and minimalistically designed box is quiet, compact for both the power it packs and especially how it compares to the PS5, capable and loaded with convenience features like instantly resuming and cycling between any of your recently played games. Compared directly to the PlayStation 5 specs, it flat out gives you more power for the same price. It's going to be a joy to see what developers actually do with it in the coming years. Not a ton has changed from late 2020, but after a year of daily driving in this black monolith, it's clear that what separates this Xbox from its predecessors and current competition isn't just power, but the way it works alongside services like Game Pass and cloud gaming. Let's take a look. Throughout the year, the Xbox Series X has received more than a dozen updates, bringing stability improvements and adding new features to the console's repertoire. There were accessibility improvements like speech-to-text or text-to-speech in party chat, and the ability to toggle accessibility options without leaving your game. Microsoft added Xbox Night Mode, which adjusts display brightness and toggles between dark and light themes, as well as Dolby Vision Gaming, which adds color and contrast to games, at least on Dolby Vision-enabled TVs. Backward-compatible games got an upgrade too, with new FPS boost and auto HDR settings that let you play a huge list of older games in HDR at up to 120 frames per second. Even after a few minor cosmetic updates, including new dynamic backgrounds and native 4K support to make the menu screens as sharp as the games, it's not hard to find the Xbox OS that was carried over from the Xbox One a bit dated. Things like searching for the games or other content you're looking for always seems a little trickier than it should be, and the dashboard often requires too much hunting and menu diving to find the exact thing you want. For instance, to listen to Spotify while playing, you have to hit the Xbox button, select My Games and Apps, select See All, select Apps, then scroll to Spotify to launch it. It's a bit of a chore for all but your most frequently used apps. When it comes to games, there haven't been many AAA or must-play exclusives on the Xbox Series X in the last year. That's not to disparage recent IGN 10 out of 10s like Forza Horizon 5 and Microsoft Flight Simulator, or even great games like The Ascent, Psychonauts 2, and 12 Minutes. But when compared to the PS5's packed lineup, it can look a little bleak. Still, if you're going to play a third-party game, as the more powerful console, the Xbox Series X is often the best place to do it. The real strength of the Series X's library comes from its access to Game Pass. In case you've been living under a rock, Game Pass is a $10 a month service that lets you play a huge catalog of games on your Xbox. Or in the $15 per month Ultimate version, also on your PC and even on your phone or tablet with Xbox Cloud Gaming. This includes every current and upcoming Xbox exclusive, a smattering of third-party games, and a huge back catalog of classics like Perfect Dark, Mass Effect, and the entire Gears of War and Fable series. That's not even to mention the imminent Halo Infinite, or, thanks to Microsoft's purchase of Bethesda, everything going forward from the developers that brought us Skyrim, Doom Eternal, Deathloop, Wolfenstein, and more. I'm constantly surprised by the quality and variety here, and if you buy more than a handful of new games every year, it more than pays for itself. Game Pass or not, our reservations about the measly 1TB SSD in the Series X have proven true. Only about 870 gigabytes of that space is actually usable, and even though it's bigger than the PS5's tiny 667 gigs, it's simply not enough when a single game can easily occupy more than 100 gigabytes. Unless you're spending between $140 and $400 for Seagate's high-speed storage expansion cards, or shuttling games back and forth from an external USB drive, the constant need to delete and re-download games feels archaic. It's an expensive fix for a problem that could have been avoided from the start. In a similar vein, the mostly fantastic Series X controller requires a constant deluge of AA's. You should definitely either use rechargeables or spring for a battery pack that can charge through the controller's USB-C port. Granted, there are advantages to being able to swap in fresh batteries when your controller conks out, but it's hard not to be jealous of the included rechargeable solution that PlayStation controllers have had for generations. These complaints aside, the last 12 months have been a steady stream of accessories released for the Series X, piling on top of virtually everything that worked on Xbox One, like the excellent but expensive Elite Series 2 controller. There are some stunning controller designs, including customizable options from Design Lab. There's the fantastic and affordable Xbox wireless headset. There are remote controls, and even an officially licensed controller from 8-Bit Do. Another feature that hasn't quite lived up to expectations is Quick Resume. It stores up to 3 save states, allowing you to hop back into a game you recently played in seconds. When it functions as advertised, it's fantastic, but it doesn't always work according to plan. For instance, if a game requires online authentication, like FIFA, Quick Resume almost always fails and you have to manually quit and restart it to play online. Other games, like Mass Effect Legendary Edition, don't support it at all. Still, most modern solo games prove the value of this time-saving feature, and given that Forza Horizon 5 seems to have solved the issue, the future of lightning-fast resuming looks bright. In the first year of the Xbox Series X, Microsoft has struggled to capitalize on its best-in-class power with a packed lineup of exclusives, but among the games it has delivered are some real winners, including Microsoft Flight Simulator and Forza Horizon 5. The internal SSD space has felt increasingly cramped, making the storage upgrades seem more essential than would be ideal. Still, Microsoft's commitment to accessibility, backwards compatibility, and services like Game Pass and cloud gaming has paid off, and we're only beginning to see a future where an Xbox is more than a box. Until then, the Series X is certainly a great box to have. For more on all things Xbox, don't miss our month-long IGN First exclusive coverage of Halo Infinite. And for everything else in the world of gaming, stick with IGN.